Yeah, Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. Sean on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Let's get to it, man. First, we're gonna go on with the NBA. There's a couple things happening right now, right? So Joel Embiid came back from what was it? From back injury, foot injury.
Wasn't it his ankle or something?
I think it was
some like a knee or something.
A knee or an ankle.
It was a bone bruise.
The bone bruise?
Yeah.
Yes. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So he came back, and
he is back.
Well, is he back in the MVP discussion?
Not yet.
Or because I feel like,
I mean, I would say so. I don't think he missed too much time. So I mean, depending on how he plays, what moving forward will tell. But I mean, I think as of right now, he's still in the conversation.
Yeah. I mean, he came back and 76ers beat Minnesota. So that was a good game. Him and K-Towns there going at it a few times.
Those arch rivals, right? They hate each other.
They do hate each other. Threw a couple flagrants out there. You know what I'm saying? You see Joel Embiid rapping people out there. That was crazy.
No, that was awesome for sure.
Right. And then we had, since the last time we spoke, we had the Kevin Durant situation happen with Michael Rapaport, which, kind of blew up this week, where we saw Michael Rapaport put out this, thread of messages from Kevin Durant pretty much, going at him about a comment he made about being emotional. And Kevin Durant went into his inbox and started talking a bunch of stuff, making threats, you know what I'm saying? Kind of like dudes talk to each other when they're talking, you know what I mean? When they're not being friendly to each other type of stuff, right? And Michael Rapaport ended up publishing those, and it started out, it started a whirlwind of shit. It went from he's being, homophobic, misogynistic, all that kind of stuff. And since then, he's been fined $50,000 by the league for what happened. I know you guys seen it. What were your thoughts on it, if any at all?
Yeah, I mean, I just was surprised that Rapaport put that out. Because those messages are private between him and KD, and him and KD has exchanged messages before. Those comments were definitely homophobic and sexist, but that's between him and KD. So I'm just surprised he put those out. Especially if I've had conversations with you before, like why you putting our conversations out?
Yeah, I mean, I thought, man, I was pretty appalled, by the comments and what, had transpired in that conversation between, Kevin Durant and Michael Rapaport. I know those guys have, had, beef and, have gone at it, in the past. And I know there's, really no love lost between the two. But geez, when I saw those messages, I was blown away and amazed at the, language that was used, particularly by KD. Like, I get that you hate the guy and you can't stand him and you despise him and and stuff, but the fact that he came at him like that was definitely overboard. And definitely, hey, that's who you have to draw the line, when someone comes at you like that. But at the same time, like, I don't know why Michael Rapaport put those messages out there. I feel like, you know, Katie was absolutely wrong. What he said, that was, you know, totally, you know, disrespectful and, you know, unacceptable for him to use that language and, you know, say all those things that he said. Like, you know, that's, you know, inexcusable. But at the same time, Michael Rapaport doesn't make himself look any better and is also wrong for putting those out. Like, that's kind of like a, you know, a God code kind
You
of
crossed the
thing.
line, man.
Like right. That's like a man code kind of thing where it's like, if I'm sending either one of you two like private messages and stuff, like, and we, you know, either have like a disagreement and stuff like that, you know, I'm sure both of us would expect that either person wouldn't put those out on social media and put those out for the public to see, because that's a private conversation.
It's
You
an
keep
unspoken
that,
rule.
you know what I'm saying, man to man. You keep that a mano y mano, like, you know, among the two of you. You know, that's confidential, you know, information that doesn't need to be disclosed, you know, to the general public. And unfortunately, it was. So I think it was unfortunate that it happened, you know, and I feel like, you know, KD could have apologized, you know, more for it.
Did he apologize? I don't think he apologized.
Yeah, right. I don't think he really apologized too much or much at all, you know, about the comments that he said in the conversation with Michael Rapaport. So, yeah, you know, it sucks, you know, that got out, and, you know, everyone, you know, saw that, and, you know, just, you know, hope that it's a, you know, learning, people can use that as a learning experience moving forward, particularly those two guys, you know, that you don't do something like that. You don't, you know, call someone, you know, those kinds of names, or you don't put someone, you know, on blast when they're privately messaging you, regardless of what, you know, that person had, you know, said to you. So just, you know, hope that, you know, those guys can, you know, like they say, live and learn, can, you know, learn from this and, you know, and move on and move forward with their lives and, you know, make them, you know, selves better people from, you know, from this incident.
I just wonder what Michael Rapaport thought he was like accomplishing by releasing those. Like, were you scared? Like, did you think, like,
he might either been scared, or sorry, John, you must either been scared, or he must have thought that, you know, this would make KD look bad and mess up his
it's
reputation and put him like down and stuff. I thought maybe, you know, that's what he would be thinking from.
I mean, obviously that's one of the reasons why he did that. But it's like, at the same time, you know, like you said, he didn't do himself any favors by doing this. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I mean, you know, not to even bring it up, this guy has a lot of like black fans, you know, and you know, all of us is just like, all right, man, you know, that was pretty corny, you know.
Right, that was whack.
Yeah, now you're not invited to the barbecue, none of that shit. You know what I mean? It's like,
definitely not invited, you know, to Pro Fan Sports barbecue.
You know what I'm saying? You were in the Friday series and stuff like that. But now it's like, we don't like you. You know what I mean? Because
right. Nah, I'm not going that far. I think I don't disagree. Like I told you, like I said already, there was no point of pointing that out. Like, there's no way.
Right.
No way somebody's, you know what I mean? Like, just like, I don't need to repeat it, but unacceptable to put those messages out.
Right. You're like,
absolutely.
But
absolutely.
But it's Michael Rapaport. He's mad cool.
See, I think he lost a lot of cool points, man, after that.
He did. Absolutely. I agree, John.
He definitely lost some, but it's like, bro, don't ever do that shit ever again. Right?
and then once like, is already enough. Once is already
nah.
Like,
listen. For me,
grown-ass man I'm doing that. Like, that shit's petty.
For me,
like,
you're a rat, bro. I can't even like go with
grown man. Like, why are you putting that out?
Yeah,
you can't handle your business privately with another grown man one-on-one? Like, come on, bro. Like, nah, that wasn't cool at all, John. He definitely lost a lot of respect from me. And I
me too.
Like
Me
the
too.
guy prior to that.
I liked him too.
Exchange, I liked him, and then just boom, like, yeah, now I don't. Really
I mean, he actually
anymore.
He actually came out and he said that, you know, he didn't think that's what was gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like he feels bad. It's like, what did you think was gonna happen by you putting out those messages, man? Like, you know what I mean? But the other thing too, you know, what, like 2 weeks ago, Myers Leonard said, you know, anti-Semitic slur on Twitch or whatever, and then he was fined $50,000, suspended a week, and now he's been traded, and now he's out of the league, right?
Yeah,
he's
he
not
was released by the
but he was released by OKC, right? Which essentially means you're out of the league because you're not on the team.
Pretty much.
You know what I'm saying? And Kevin Durant, with everything that was put on display, got only $50,000. You know, there wasn't no week suspension. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you guys think that's a double standard?
Nah, I mean, I understand what you mean, but it's like, I think you're taking into the context that he was private messaging somebody. I don't know. I mean, I think there's a little bit of a double standard because KD is like
a superstar,
and Leonard is a nobody. So it's like, you know what I mean? But at the same time, none of us feel like, oh, bash KD. You know what I mean? None of us feel that way. None of us feel as though KD.
Well, I mean, no offense to anybody. I didn't even know what the word Myles Leonard used was. So I wasn't like, yo, bash Myles Leonard.
Yeah,
like, oh my God, he's such a terrible person. Whoa.
I didn't say that, but I was like, yeah, once you go there, you like, bro, like, why you even going there? Especially you're on Twitch, you're in public, people are listening to you. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like me and you sitting at home having a conversation. Mm-hmm. There's certain things I'm going to say to you that I'm never going to say outside. You know what I'm trying to say?
See, the thing is, you are on Twitch or whatever, but like, it's in between you and somebody else, isn't it?
No, well, no, other people can watch it.
Other people can watch it?
So
yeah.
Other people are seeing it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You can like broadcast yourself playing?
That's what someone else, but
that's what Twitch
can watch you. Right.
No, I've heard it. I'm old. I'm old, you guys. I'm older.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know Twitch like that.
Let's not talk. We're doing a lot of talking over each other right now.
You know, we get excited. We get a little excited. Yeah, but I didn't know about Twitch. I mean, I heard about it, but I didn't really know what it was. I'm like, is that a game or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you play video games and stuff, and people watch you while you play.
I don't play video games, so I'm the wrong person for that stuff.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I don't even play like the 2Ks and stuff like that. But
right, your question, John, was it a
double standard, or is it a fair punishment for KD, and is it a double standard that he didn't get the rest of the stuff that happened?
Well, I think I was actually looking this up, and apparently the highest fine that you can get for for an incident like that was $50K. So that's why they fined both, KD and Myles Leonard the same amount. Amount, because the by the CBA and by law of the NBA, you can't fine a player or anybody that works for the NBA more than that for using like a slur or for saying those kind of things that KD said. So I think that's as much as the league could do. As far as whether it's a double standard.
Barry, before you go, what about the fact that Myles Leonard was suspended a week or something?
Right.
Why wasn't KD suspended a week? Because they both got the 50,000.
50,000.
50K.
But one was suspended and one wasn't.
No, that's a fair point and a good question. I think the league could have certainly suspended, KD for, some time. When he, gets back to the court, they could have, suspended him for a few games just to kind of, send a message to the rest of the players that, hey, if you, do this stuff and say these kind of things to, people, that's not okay. You are going to, suffer the consequences and get punished for it. So they, could have done that. And I would have, been okay with it, and wouldn't have been surprised. And so you're right. I think it's a little disappointing that the league didn't come down more on KD, to set an example for, the rest of the players in this league, particularly with everything that's been going on with the, social injustice, issues that we've had in the country within the past year. So it's unfortunate that they didn't punish him more for that outside of the fine. But you're right. Possibly him being KD and him being one of the faces of the league, could have possibly been a reason of him not getting as much of a punishment as Miles Leonard. But they still could have done more to punish him and to, make him, pay the price a little bit more for his actions.
I think I definitely see where Vlad was coming from when you said that, maybe it's because it's like a private message thing, like you guys said, Miles Leonard was on a public platform, and, there's a way you conduct yourself, and, what he said was against the whole community and stuff like that, which some of the stuff, KD said is from, is against a whole community in itself as well. But what makes it even more crazy is that he actually invited the guy to like meet him at a corner to like, have a physical altercation with him. You know what I'm saying? And like called him, he made a lot of threats. Let's just say that, right? And to me, like based on conduct policy and stuff like that, I would imagine that would warrant, maybe like, at least, listen, this thing with Miles Leonard happened a week ago. Apart from KD stuff, I wouldn't be mad if they got at least the same punishment. I mean? There's no way KD is gonna get, released and, traded or whatever because he's KD. But like to avoid, conversations like this, you should have just like given him the same punishment and, get it over with. Like the guy wasn't playing for weeks anyway. You know what I mean? Like if he missed another couple of games, like it wouldn't have done anything.
Kill him, right?
You know what I mean? But I definitely think it's somewhat of a double standard, for him just getting the $50K and kind of like, brushed it under the rug. You know what I mean? Swept it under the rug kind of thing. But you know what? The league has preferential treatment. We've always known that, and it's not changing. It's not changing this year. But that was a pretty crazy story. Andre Drummond started with the Lakers. And he was on the court for about 2 quarters, and he suffered a toe injury. I believe he lost a toenail, and his toes messed up a little bit. So that was not a well-lived debut for him. Isaiah,
not at all.
Yeah, Isaiah Thomas, IT time. He's coming back on a 10-day contract with the Pelicans. So welcome back to the league, IT.
Yes,
I think the league is a better place with you in it. I definitely want to see him ball, especially in the blowouts, and see what he can do.
Me too.
Yeah, man. Speaking of coming back, KD is going to be possibly coming back this week. We were just talking about that he was out, and now he possibly will be coming back because that's what Steve Nash said, the head coach. So he may be back as soon as the 5th. So we'll see what happens. Harden from the same team, he missed a game with hamstring tightness. He left the game previous with some hamstring issues, and that's why he was out of the game. Drew Holiday reached an extension with the Bucks, 4-year, $160 million contract. Rajon Rondo made his debut with the Clippers on the 4th. versus the Lakers, I believe. So
Yep,
that was pretty cool. LaMarcus Aldridge debuted with the Nets and, immediately hit his, step back, fade away, mid-range jumper out there. Had Kyrie going crazy. So he was looking good out there. Gordon Hayward, surprisingly, but not very surprisingly, will be out with a foot sprain for 4 weeks, which actually kind of means that he's out at least 4 weeks. So that pretty much kind of means like he's out for the rest of the season because there's 5 weeks left in the season. And that's definitely bad for his team because now LaMelo's out and he is out. And that's definitely not good for team chemistry and, helping them win games. So it's going to be a struggle for them. DeMarcus Cousins signed with the Clippers as well. Now they got a big man and a point guard in Cousins and Rondo. Rondé Hollis signed with the Blazers. He was previously with Toronto Raptors. I believe the Nets took number 1 seed for about a game, and then now Philadelphia's back on top as the number 1 seed in the East. So these guys are probably going to flip-flop for the foreseeable future because we only do have 5 weeks left, and they're the cream of the crop in the East right now. So, I don't see anybody else coming in that fold right now. Dennis Schroeder from the Lakers turned down an $85 million extension with the Lakers. So that was pretty big. People want him to stay there. But you'll see a lot of players do that because you'll get more money on the open market. You know what I'm saying? Like, as opposed to,
Is that his first contract?
No, this wouldn't be his first contract, but this would be his, first big money contract, I believe.
I mean, that's what I meant. He's
right. Like, his first big money. Like, he doesn't want to sign for 85, right now when he could go and actually.
He wants at least 100 mil.
Listen,
at least.
If he plays well, he could possibly get a max from some dumb team that's willing to do it. you know what I'm saying? We saw Evan Turner. We saw Evan Turner left here on like a $70 million contract. After he played sparingly with the Celtics. You know what I'm saying? So there's a team out there that's always ready to We saw what happened to Gordon Hayward and Al Horford. Now, you know what I'm saying? Teams that just will do this shit. You know what I mean? So he do himself a disservice.
When we give out the bags to average players,
right, to rejuvenate the fan base. To get a name that can get everyone excited.
I can see the Magic's doing that. I can see the Rockets doing that.
Yep.
A couple of teams out there I can see doing that.
Shoot, I can see the Knicks doing some shit like that. You know what I mean? Even though
Tibbs is there now, so let's hope.
He is.
Right. And they got, better GM there and stuff, better management. So I'm sure they wouldn't do that. But those bummy teams that are desperate for talent, I'm sure would just throw out a lot of money at a player like that just to, try to get something on there, that a notable name that can at least help them, get better. So
listen, the Celtics could do something like that.
They don't got the cap space for that. Too many big contracts.
They're talking about moving Kyrie Irving and stuff. I mean, not Kyrie. What's his name? Kemba Walker and stuff. So, I don't know.
We ain't got the cap space for that. We already got our hands tied with that contract.
You know who I like actually? That could be something. A player. I think his name is Juan Madar or something like that. One of the dudes we actually drafted this year. He's in the Israeli league.
The one that we drafted and stashed. Right.
He's like a 6'3" point guard, lean. I was seeing some highlights of him. He looked good.
Okay. He can hoop.
He can hoop, man. So I'm excited for the future a little bit. And lastly, with the NBA news, Anthony Davis is rumored to be close to returning to the floor, and that would be good for the Lakers because it's been a struggle without their top 2 superstars since him and LeBron has been out. And now we're gonna move into the Celtics. right?
Did we talk about Drew Holiday's deal?
Yes, we did. We did.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah,
He signed that
That's what you
4-year
were saying about
extension.
Dennis Schroeder.
That's
Maybe
right.
he's trying to get something like that. Well,
He's-
good luck to him.
He's not gonna get that, but he's gonna get something like Terry Rozier or something. Remember that?
Right. He could do that. I could see that.
Yeah, man. So on to the Celtics. Since we last spoke to you guys, the Celtics went and played 4 games. First, they lost to the Pelicans 115-109. Lost to the Mavericks 108. And things didn't look very well, with those games at all. And then since then, it's kind of like maybe there's been a switch or something that's happened, or maybe
no.
they played have just been trash.
Sorry to talk over you, but they played 2 sucky teams. That's it. It's not. It's not.
There ain't no switch that
it's
they
not a
flip.
switch or anything.
So you guys.
They played the Rockets.
Yep.
And
The worst team in the league right now.
Exactly.
Second the worst team. That actually technically the Wolves, the Timberwolves are the worst team in the league. They're like a game behind the Rockets.
That's crazy.
Yeah, which I just looked up today when I was looking at the standing because I just wanted to see if the Rockets were the worst team, and yeah, surprisingly they're not. I thought they were, but I guess the Timberwolves are worse than them.
And then they played the Hornets.
The Hornets, they played 116-86.
Another bad team. So
they're not a bad team.
They're not a bad team, man.
With injuries.
Well, they're a bad team right now. When the Celtics played them, they were a terrible. They were a terrible team. Like Gordon Hayward.
The team they have now is trash.
Gordon Hayward.
That's fair.
Gordon Hayward is not there. LaMelo Ball is not there. What do they have left?
Right, their 2 best players pretty much aren't there, right?
Yeah, man.
That's true.
I mean, listen, I was trying to, give the fans, a little optimism. You guys just fucking crushed it.
Exactly.
Like, I was trying to, paint a little, glimmer of hope. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on, man.
It's false hope, though.
Listen, but I'm trying to be a homer. I'm trying to be on the wagon. You know what I'm saying? And you guys, man. Anyway, they won their last 2 games, against mediocre team, Vlad would like me to say, okay? That's what. Their upcoming games against the 76ers, if they win against the 76ers tomorrow.
That's a real win now.
Is that a real win?
Now we're talking. Yes.
Okay, and then the following day on the 7th, they play the Knicks. If they win against the Knicks.
Another good team.
So okay.
If they don't beat,
quality win.
They have so many reasons to beat the Knicks.
Yeah.
They have to beat the Knicks because it's a New York team. Boston, New York, everybody knows that rivalry. No matter the sport, there's always a Boston, New York rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
The Knicks are like one of the teams in the NBA that's really sucked the past 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Another reason. And then third reason is the last time we played the Knicks, they beat us by 30.
They did.
Remember that game too?
30.
That was Kemba Walker's first game back, and they blew us out in the Garden.
If you're not upset,
TD Garden, right?
If you're not upset enough to get revenge on the Knicks, I don't know what to tell you, man.
Okay, so then right after the Knicks, they play the worst team in the league, Timberwolves, on the 9th.
Yep.
And then, another big team that's coming on is the Nuggets on the 11th. So if they beat the Nuggets.
If they beat the Nuggets, yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's a big
hit. They have to beat the Nuggets.
Because the Nuggets are balling.
Well,
go ahead.
There's 3 games that I'm not even counting the. I'm not counting
the Knicks.
The
Timberwolves, yeah, because they're garbage. Yeah.
But if they win 2 out of those 3 games, the game against the Sixers, the game against the Nuggets, and the game against the Knicks, if they win 2 out of those 3 games, I'm gonna feel good about it.
Okay.
Because they had to win against the Timberwolves.
So we'll see. Those are upcoming games for the Celtics. Right. On Celtics news, Romeo Langford, we talked about him a few weeks ago, asking where this guy has been. He's been out, with the wrist injury. Well, with the wrist surgery, he had wrist surgery in the offseason. And yesterday, out of nowhere, he made his debut and with little time on the court, had some impact. He
looked
had
alright.
he looked alright.
But he did, John. Another thing to note is that he also caught COVID as well, so that's what kept him out even longer.
Listen,
he
I
actually
hope.
ended up getting COVID and was on the COVID protocol and everything, and had to, spend more time like getting his conditioning back up and everything. Kind of like when Tatum had COVID and they had to, spend some time getting his conditioning back, to well enough where he could play. So that's what even kept him out longer, besides him having the wrist surgery.
Yeah, man. It was a welcome sight for me because I actually like Romeo Langford a little bit, man, and I think he has potential. Not to like gas him up or anything like that, but the guy was actually pretty big coming out of high school. Even in college, at Indiana, I believe.
Went to Indiana,
he was a leading, scorer on his team, like leading playmaker. So I think he can do some things, and with the little time he had on the court, you could see he made some impact. Granted, it was against one of the mediocre teams. He still looked good, and welcome back Romeo Langford. They destroyed the Hornets by 30, so that was crazy. Evan Fournier, we talked about him a couple of weeks ago when he signed here.
Evan Fournier.
He's your guy again.
Yeah,
okay.
That's my man's right there.
All right.
Sir.
Yeah, he debuted, I believe, against the Mavericks, and he went 0 for 10 in that game. And people were down on him, and since then he played the Rockets, where he went 7 for 7, in the fourth quarter in 3 points. I think that was actually his career high. So he went from hitting 0 shots, career low, to hitting career high in 3 points. And then
about streaky.
Right, and then in the Hornets game, it seemed like the guy figured himself out, and he looks like he's going to be like a piece that's going to help us out a little bit. What were your thoughts on looking at him, pretty much knocking the rust off and, getting back to himself on the court?
Well, I'm more impressed by this. Well, the Celtics played 2 sucky teams, like I said earlier, but the game against the Hornets was the most complete game I saw the Celtics played all year. They were moving the ball like they never moved the ball before.
Yeah.
When I was watching the game against the Rockets, and I was looking at the stats, Jason Tatum had, I don't know, maybe 32 points or something. He had 0 assists. 0 assists. And
wow,
to me, that's not basketball. Like,
yeah.
You're one of the top, you're the top dog on the team, and you're not making anybody better. You're scoring just for yourself. Like, he had 32 points and maybe, I don't know, 4 rebounds, 0 assists. That's unacceptable to me.
That's against the Rockets, too.
Exactly. I didn't like that at all. I like the win against the Rockets because obviously it's a win, but the basketball wasn't there for me. It wasn't basketball. It was just, it's a bad team. You're going to win eventually. But against the Hornets, the ball was moving. Guys were looking for the extra pass. Like, they were penetrating the paint. They were kicking the ball out. Guys were spacing out. I was actually really, really impressed. But every time I'm like, oh, but it's still the Hornets, though. You know what I mean? Like, so I want to see them do that consistently, and I want to see them do that against the good teams that we just talked about, the Knicks, the Nuggets, and the Sixers. As far as Evan Fournier go, he had 2 good games against 2 sucky teams. I want to see what he does against the good teams that are coming up. Maybe he is helping with some of the ball movement that's going on. But he seems like a good player, a good addition so far.
Yeah, no, I certainly like what I'm seeing from my guy Evan Fournier. I certainly didn't like what I saw the first couple games, and no one did. He started out pretty cold, and stuff. Been those first 2 games not really making any shots and making any plays. But certainly, the last couple games he's played much better and played like the player that we expected to, like we that and while we brought him here, we can see what he's capable of doing, providing that scoring off the bench, another knockdown shooter, and we desperately needed another knockdown shooter that could make shots outside of JT and JB. And also give take the pressure off of those guys as well, so they don't have to score as much and carry as much of a load offensively. So that even when one of them's on the bench, if they put Fournier in, he can still get the job done, and play well enough until one of those guys comes back in. So I think we've seen him play much better and much more like what we saw him play in Orlando for a good amount of time. So I certainly like what I'm seeing from him, and hopefully we can continue to see that from him moving forward. I'm glad that he didn't let those bad games phase him, because sometimes players can get down and not really recover from that from a confidence standpoint. So it was good to see him bounce back and and play better after those two rough games. As far as how the overall team has been doing, they've been looking better. Even though against not the best competition, I like certainly what I'm seeing on both sides of the floor. Particularly, with the offense, I'm seeing more connectivity. So I'm seeing, like Vlad said, ball moving around, moving it from side to side. Guys also, what I'm saying, setting more screens for each other and actually cutting to the basket and cutting hard, not just, what I'm saying, cutting to go through the motions, actually cutting with the purpose, like they, want to score and, and want to make a play. So I've been, seeing a lot more of those, backdoor cuts and, a lot more activity on the offensive end, which is great, and which is exactly what, they should be doing, how they should play, because that's what Brad Stevens' offense is when it's executed, perfectly. So they've done a better job with that. They're playing good team defense. The defense is, better. I'm seeing more energy, more effort, more activity on the defensive end. Guys communicating and, not missing their assignments and their rotations. So they've certainly improved that, on the last two games. So they're, starting to formulate good habits here. It's just a matter of, keeping up, those habits and doing it for 48 minutes and doing it against, better competition, and against, better players, which we're going to see this coming week with the schedule that you just said, John. We got a, pretty tough schedule outside of the Timberwolves. Those three teams are playoff teams and really good. So we're going to see what this team is made of and how good they really are, and if those habits are, actually real and or what we've seen the last two games, or if it's just because they played, two really bad teams. So, yeah, we're looking forward to seeing how this team does this week. It's a big week for them, and and hopefully they can keep it going and keep playing together on both ends of the floor, because that's what Celtics basketball is.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I love seeing Evan, figuring it out there. I think he's a guy that needs to know where he needs to be on the floor, to to succeed. You know what I'm saying? He's not a guy that's going to come in and take over stuff and start doing things on his own. He's a player that built himself up. You know, he's been in the league for a while, and you know he's done it through his routines. Like if you look at his shots, it's almost pretty much like the same shots all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like he knows exactly where his sets are and where he's supposed to be to get the shots that he needs. You know what I'm saying? And I think he mentioned that a little bit in his press conference, and I think it took him, you know, those couple of games to actually figure it out, and he figured it out in the seventh, in the fourth quarter when he hit 7 3-pointers. You know what I'm saying? And it looked like it just leaked into the next game against the Hornets. You know, he looks like he knows exactly where his spots are, and he's hitting them. You know what I'm saying? And more often than not, when he gets the ball, he's going to be wide open. You know, and he's a guy that can make those shots for sure. And I think he's a person that's going to help this team out a lot, you know, just because he can make those shots, which is why, you know, Danny Ainge traded for him. Definitely disappointed in the debut there. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, just our luck. Just, you know,
this is who we traded for.
Come on, man. Just our luck.
Danny,
you know what I'm saying?
Guy that's supposed to be a shooter and can't even make any shots.
Right, because I texted him like, "That's your guy, Barry." Like this is,
right. Like that's the dude you were saying that he was nice and he can hoop and stuff.
Right,
and I remember that.
You know, as far as the Celtics go, it looks like they're starting to figure some things out. Like Barry is saying, they're starting to use Robert Williams the way he should be used.
Yes.
Like the players look like they all understand what Robert Williams is starting to be. You know, he's all over the stat sheet. You know what I'm saying? I think we all wanted him to start, and we've all seen the potential all year. Start him. And now, since then, he scored 20 points in that game against the Rockets and then 16 points against the Hornets. You know what I'm saying? He had 100% shooting against the Rockets. And then, you know, he did pretty well against the Hornets as well. You know what I'm saying? It looked like the guys are trying to create easy shots. Like Vlad was saying, the assist numbers, I think they broke their record against the Hornets or something like that with like more than 35. You know, during the game when I saw the game, it was just good basketball. You know what I'm saying? Good Celtics basketball, moving the ball, finding the open guy, and guys were actually hitting their shots. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times the Celtics live by the three and they die by the three. And, you know, the last couple of games we've been hitting the threes and, you know, hitting timely shots. Jaylen Brown, who left the game early in Houston, came back and played well. You know, Jason Tatum continues to play well, but it looked like, you know, they were making an effort to pass the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know they can get their shots, but you got to get your teams involved. And listen, like we're saying,
teammates more. That's a good point, John.
Like we're saying,
guys are trusting the, you know, players around them, and you know, and actually playing, you know, team basketball. You know, hopefully we can see that, because that's the key. Those guys have to be, you know, locked in and have to be buying into playing team basketball.
Right, like we said, you know, LaMelo Ball and Gordon Hayward is out. So that means, you know, it's the path gets a little easier for us when it comes to like playoff seeding and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, we'll have an easier time. But at the same time, we need to definitely gel a little more. I don't put it past the Celtics to, you know, go on a run and do some crazy stuff. You guys know we've only had more than a 2-game winning streak like twice this season.
Really?
That's it. We've only had more than 2-game winning streak.
Time when we started the season like 8-3 or something like that.
This season.
Yeah, we started this season like 8-3 before.
So that was the first one. That was the first one.
Got COVID.
Right, that was the first one, and then we had another one, and we haven't had another one since.
Wow, that's crazy.
If we win 3 games in a row, that will be the first time this season that we've done that, and I think that's freaking crazy. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, goes to show how inconsistent this team is.
Listen, we haven't won any notable games. I think we won against Milwaukee. But you know,
the second time we played Milwaukee, we beat them. Right.
But that was about the only game. So we'll see what happens. I think one thing a question we had from Adrian Mack in Northampton. With the regular season ending in a little over a month, what coaches do you think will be let go?
Brad Stevens will still have his job for sure.
Yeah, don't think Brad Stevens is going anywhere, guys. Like, 'cause I feel like they ask those questions because they want us to tell them Brad Stevens. Like,
that's what they want to hear. They want us to say, fire Brad Stevens.
Nope.
Get him out of here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, honestly. Over the weekend, I saw people were talking about Steve Kerr.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a hot take right there. Ooh, Steve Kerr. Wow. I didn't even think of that.
They were talking about Steve Kerr and how they're very disappointed in him and the job that he's doing this year.
Mm-hmm.
Their team got blew up by the Raptors over the past week. And it came to my mind a little bit. It came through, and I was like, man, Steve Kerr is doing a pretty bad job right now. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he'll be fired, but he's not looking good right now.
Mm-hmm.
And if he has another season like this, you never know. I don't know exactly who's gonna get fired this year. I mean, the guy from the Rockets, he just got the job, so I doubt they'll fire him. Salas or whatever his name is.
Yep, Steven Salas. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. What about you guys? What do you guys think?
I got a couple. I think somebody like Luke Walton.
He was actually on my list.
Might definitely be gone. You know, somebody like Scotty Brooks or somebody.
I was gonna say him too. Yeah.
Scotty Brooks sucks.
Yeah, right. He's overrated.
Since they lost that 3-1 lead against the
Warriors,
Warriors, and the way that team went after that, I was like, I know a lot of time NBA teams like to hire coaches that wear somewhere good, but I don't know. I don't like.
You know, somebody else, Steve Clifford, like the Orlando Magic dude.
Yeah,
because that team is fucking trash, bro.
Right.
Well, they traded everybody now.
I'm sure he's definitely gonna go because they've just completely cleaned house and had a fire.
They need a new start
at the trade-up deadline. So you've already traded all your best players and 7 your all-stars. So you might as well get rid of the coaching, clean house, and start from scratch. If you're rebuilding and tanking. So
who's over there? Who coaches the Timberwolves?
Luke Walton.
No. Luke Walton coaches the Kings.
Sacramento.
Yeah.
Yeah, my bad.
They got that new coach, the assistant from the Raptors. That's
he's pretty new.
Brian Saunders flipped Saunders' son. He got fired in the middle of the season.
That's true.
So he's an interim coach. They're probably gonna hire a new coach this offseason and and look for someone else to take that job. Other guys that could get fired, I think, are the Pistons coach Dwayne Casey.
Oh yeah, that sucks, man. Like he fell off hard, man. From Toronto to where he's at now, man. Coach of the year to this.
Exactly. Right. To being the worst team in the Eastern Conference. Yep.
Yeah.
I know it's crazy.
I think he's the type of coach that can coach like a team that's building.
Yeah.
Like the Magic, if the Magic want to hire him to build the team up, even Houston has a coach right now, but a team like that, I feel as though he can build, but I don't believe in him to bring me to the chip or anything like that.
I don't think he's a team builder. I think he's somebody that does well with established stars.
Right.
In my opinion.
You think so?
Yeah, because like when he was with the Raptors, with with Kyle
but-
Lowry and
DeMar
then
DeRozan.
But he didn't bring those guys
DeRozan.
anywhere, though.
He brought them to like the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
But
true.
LeBron, came through and
every time.
sweep.
Right.
That's why he got fired.
Right out the broom.
Yeah. They were the best in the league in the East, and then LeBron came through.
That's why I think he's more like
sweeping. Yeah.
I mean, I get what you're saying with established stars. Maybe he can bring them together and make them play
Right.
well, but he can get you over the hump, though.
No, I'm just saying that because he's been with the Pistons and hasn't done shit.
That's
I mean,
true.
a building team, and it's like now you lost Andre Drummond, Blake Griffin, like.
But the Pistons has I feel as though the Pistons haven't been one of those teams that have draft capitals that are like, you know what I mean? They just who have they been drafting to like even be good?
They haven't drafted anyone really.
That's
Like,
what I'm saying.
The
Like
only one
that team,
the only notable I can think of is Stanley Johnson, and he's okay. He's an
that team,
all right role player.
a team like the Magic has draft capitals. They can draft people. You know what I mean? Then maybe
Listen.
we can build that. But
You know who they had? They traded. I thought the Celtics were gonna get Christian Wood.
Oh yeah, they let him go in free agency.
How good would he have looked in the Celtics, bro?
Oh, whew.
Bro,
Yeah, he would have looked nice. He would have looked real good.
a big man,
Sure.
dude.
Oh, I would have
Anyway,
been a real good addition.
Um,
Real quick, I was just gonna say, you know what they used to call the Raptors when LeBron kept sweeping them in the playoffs? The LeBronto Raptors.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because right, like he legit owned the owned the Raptors, and yeah, they couldn't.
I think
really
Shannon
at all.
Sharp called them like the baby dinosaurs or something like that. Because he's a LeBron fan. But did you have any last coach? Because I wanna definitely get through that right now.
Yeah, so just the last coach was the one from the Cavs.
Okay, yeah. Two coaches I'm thinking that might be sneaky. Mike Budenholzer and Nick Nurse. You know what I'm saying? Nick Nurse, because of the situation with the players. The players not liking him and stuff like that with Siakam and then Kyle Lowry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And Budenholzer, because he's had a top team in the East for so long and hasn't done shit with him the whole time he's been there. So they could get rid of him, if they think he's the reason, because none of his teams have performed in the playoffs. They never perform. He doesn't change. He doesn't change anything. It's like you keep having 60-game winning teams not going anywhere in the playoffs. It's something got to change.
Right. No, but sure, that's the same thing he was doing with the Atlanta Hawks when he used to coach the Hawks and stuff. And I feel like the Milwaukee Bucks are kind of turning into that version of the Atlanta Hawks, a really good regular season team, but they always come up short and come up small in the playoffs, and and the biggest games when it matters the most. So
for sure, that's him. That's his reputation, man. Thank you, Adrian Meck, for the questions. I hope we answered your questions. I think a lot of those guys that we mentioned are going to get fired. So we'll see what happens. And lastly, congratulations to the women of Stanford basketball team for winning the national championship tournament, in the March Madness Final Four tournament. Congrats to them. And then the men's Baylor and Gonzaga game will be on Monday the 5th. So good luck to those guys, man. Did you guys have a prediction on who you want to win? After all, Gonzaga's been undefeated all year. You guys think they're gonna go undefeated?
I couldn't tell you.
I do. I think Gonzaga will win and beat Baylor tonight. I think it'll be another close game like they played on Saturday against UCLA. But yeah, I think they'll win the national championship tonight and beat Baylor.
Yeah, I think it's been easy for Baylor. A lot of the games this playoffs, especially the last couple ones they've played, they've gotten rid of teams. You know what I'm saying? I think when that happens, you go in there with a confidence and you know, Gonzaga's been in some tough games lately, and especially the last one where they had to win by last second. So I'm picking them to win. But
That
you know,
game was crazy.
it's a year of underdogs. You know, underdog might win this year. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see.
So you got Baylor?
No. I got Gonzaga.
Gotcha.